Welcome back to SecretSpool's Therapy Thursday. I'm Noah, and tonight's story is for anyone who has ever tried to break a habit that felt stitched into their identity, the kind you reach for without thinking, even when you know it's holding you back. Healing doesn't always happen in clean lines or dramatic breakthroughs. Sometimes it's quiet, awkward, and improvisational. Sometimes it relies on rituals that don't make sense to anyone but the person living through the craving. Tonight's story explores that strange middle ground, the place between wanting change and still fighting the familiar pull of the past. If you've ever had to retrain your own mind to let go of something that once brought comfort, this one might resonate with you. Let's get started. I've been smoke-free for just over a month now, 33 days, which doesn't sound like much when you say it out loud, but each one feels like its own stretch of emotional terrain. Some of those days glide by so easily, I almost forget why I ever smoked in the first place. Others feel long and heavy, filled with moments where I'm painfully aware of every thought, every urge, every bit of noise in my chest that insists I return to my old routine. It's strange how the same amount of time can feel so different depending on the way your mind chooses to interpret it. On the smooth days, I feel almost normal. I wake up, drink my coffee, and go about my tasks without the instinctual tug to step outside. I sit through meetings and commutes without that little voice offering me the familiar escape I used to rely on. My hands stay still. My thoughts stay clear. It feels like I've stepped into a version of myself I've been trying to meet for years. Someone who isn't controlled by a craving. Someone who can breathe without bargaining with their own impulses. But then there are the other days, the ones that hit like a sudden storm. The craving doesn't show up politely or gradually. It barrels in during a stressful morning or a tense conversation, or one of those silent moments where the mind wanders too far. It feels like a door I've tried to close keeps swinging open, and I can't decide whether to brace against it or let it move so I can understand why it still exists. Those days remind me that healing isn't linear. It wobbles, it fights back, it demands patience. Most people told me the same thing when I announced I was quitting. Throw everything away. But something about that approach felt wrong for me. Maybe it was stubbornness, maybe it was fear, maybe it was the knowledge that instantly cutting ties with something that once provided comfort would only make my mind panic harder. Addiction doesn't disappear because you hide the evidence. The muscle memory stays, the emotional reflex stays. The brain keeps searching for old solutions to new stress, so I didn't throw my packs away. One pack sits in my drawer at home, hidden among old receipts, rubber bands, and the sort of odds and ends that collect in a drawer you rarely open. The other pack lives in my office cabinet, tucked behind sticky notes and pens and things I barely touch. They're like artifacts from a past life, not proudly displayed but not banished either. They sit there quietly, reminders of who I was and testaments to the person I'm trying to become. It's not about keeping temptation. It's about acknowledging the reality of my own history and learning how to stand in front of it without collapsing. Whenever the urge spikes, I don't run from the drawer or pretend I'm stronger than the feeling. I walk toward it. I open the drawer or the cabinet and pick up the pack with a kind of deliberate slowness. I let myself feel the familiar texture, the small weight in my palm. It's grounding in a strange way, not because I want to use it, but because I'm proving to myself that I can confront the thing I'm afraid of without letting it control me. Sometimes I flip the pack open with one hand, the same way I used to when it was a reflex instead of a choice. Sometimes I just hold it closed. Twice, I pulled out a single cigarette and let it rest between my fingers. Once, in a moment of frustration, I tossed one across the room. Not dramatically, but in the quiet way you discard something you're tired of negotiating with. And every single time, I put everything back exactly where it was. It's like I'm performing the outline of the old habit without filling in the damaging parts. I know how strange it sounds, acting out pieces of the ritual without ever letting it cross the line into reality. But the motions themselves used to calm me. They were part of the structure I leaned on during stressful moments. And now I'm learning to take back that structure without falling into the old behavior. It's as if my brain only needed the echo of the habit, not the habit itself, to feel soothed enough to let the craving pass. And the surprising part is that it actually works. When the urge tightens in my chest or crowds my thoughts, this odd little ritual gives me the space to breathe through it. It interrupts the automatic cycle long enough for the rational part of my mind to get a word in. I'm not tricking myself into forgetting the craving. I'm giving myself a way to move through it without collapsing under it. Healing looks different for everyone. Some people remove triggers entirely, some people distract themselves, some replace the habit with exercise or gum or deep breathing. But for me, healing looks like confronting the object head-on and choosing differently every single time. It's not glamorous, it's not something I broadcast, it's my quiet, private form of resistance, and it has carried me further than any cold turkey approach ever did. But something unexpected happened recently. A few days ago, I went to the drawer without thinking, not because I was craving anything, but because my body was replaying old muscle memory. I picked up the pack, and instead of that familiar spark of desire, I felt bored. The ritual that once helped me feel grounded suddenly felt unnecessary, like a chore I'd outgrown. It caught me off guard, but in a good way, like realizing your mind is finally catching up to the life you're trying to build. That tiny moment of boredom felt like the first sign of real freedom. Not dramatic, not triumphant, just quiet evidence that something inside me is shifting. Healing doesn't always look like a clean break or a monumental choice. Sometimes it's hidden in a moment where you realize you no longer want what you once reached for automatically. It's subtle, almost unremarkable, until you recognize what it means. I'm not pretending I'm healed. I'm not pretending the cravings are gone forever. I'm not pretending I've figured out the perfect strategy, but I am smoke-free, and that is something I haven't been able to say with confidence in years. Those packs no longer feel powerful or tempting. They feel like the last pages of a chapter I'm slowly walking away from. Breaking a habit is rarely about grand declarations. It's about the choices you make in quiet, uncelebrated moments. The ones no one sees, the ones no one claps for, the ones where it would be so easy to give yourself permission to slip. That's where the real battle is, and that's where I've learned the most about myself, about what I want, and about the kind of life I'm trying to step into. If I've learned anything, it's that recovery doesn't have to look like anyone else's version. You don't have to follow a perfect blueprint. You just have to find something that helps you move forward, something that softens the cravings without pulling you backward. For me, that meant holding the thing I'm trying to quit and proving to myself again and again that I can choose not to use it. Every time I've held a cigarette this month, I've put it back. Every time I've faced the urge, I've walked away without giving it what it wanted. Maybe that doesn't look spectacular from the outside. Maybe it looks messy, unconventional, or downright strange, but from where I'm standing, it's evidence of progress. Real, difficult, imperfect progress that's growing stronger, one quiet moment at a time. Thanks for spending this Therapy Thursday with me. If you're out there trying to break a habit, manage your cravings, or reclaim a part of yourself you've lost along the way, I'm rooting for you. Healing doesn't have to be tidy to be meaningful. If tonight's story resonated, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing your own experience in the comments. You never know who might find comfort in it. Until next time, take care of yourself, one steady choice at a time.